Happy 2018, everybody. Tom Shattuck here with my friend Jay. This is the I Shoulda Did More Reading podcast. It's 2018. Last time we talked was maybe 2.5 weeks ago. It's been
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Exactly. It's been a total blur. And, geez, I'm just glad it's over. I'm glad it's like this return to normalcy. I don't like the special times a year.
I look forward to it.
You do?
I do, absolutely. I like the energy, and I have an 8-year-old, as you know, but so I sort of live, through him a little bit.
I get it.
It's always disappointing, though. I guess you always expect more and better, and like you were a kid, but it's never quite like you remember it.
No, I understand that, like you like Christmas, and to have the kid have joy is great, and it's about them and all that stuff. But this just whole block of time, between just before Christmas and then New Year's. It's just you feel you're stuck. You're stuck inside a lot, and there's always something to do, and it's always just I don't know. I'm. It also for me anyway. It's been. It's easy to find an excuse to f up, and when these times. Yeah. But we are back, and we promise to make it up to you. You can follow us on Twitter at Shoulda Did More, Instagram I Shoulda Did More Reading, Facebook.com / I Shoulda Did More Reading. You can find us at I Shoulda Did More Reading.com. Email I should have did more reading at gmail.com. We can get another one of those, a shorter one of those someday. Subscribe to us. This is important. Subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube and Google Play and Stitcher and TuneIn. And in 2018, we are reaching for this, guys. We will have certainly more podcasts, but we will expand as well to some video and other ventures on all of these platforms. We just wanted to get a few behind us for this, just to get going, so we could launch here the right way and have our feet under us. So we wanted to start here with a little progress report on our Get Lean in 18.
Get Lean in 18, yeah. Mm-hmm. So we started November.
Now there have been changes. People should know there has been a change.
Remind me of those.
We've been here about a month, and when we first weighed in, you had me at what?
300.
300, okay. And you were at
222.
222. And now where are we a month later?
From 222, I am 217.5 pounds.
Oh, you lost 5 pounds?
A loss of 4.5 pounds for a total loss of 2% of body weight as we're measuring percentage. Tom, you came in at 300 on November 30th, and then the holidays kicked in, and I guess this is when you're saying you're effed up. You're at 306 currently with a negative 2%, so you gain 4%. I mean, you gain 2% of weight.
Which to some would seem like I've gained weight, right?
Well, I mean, to an Excel spreadsheet, that's pretty accurate. That would be 1 point of measurement. Maybe this is false information.
So I'm not surprised. When I weighed myself this morning, I was surprised it wasn't more. I expected it to be maybe 310.
Yeah.
And I know how. There was a stretch there in the middle of December when I went on a pasta bender and was just rocking and rolling spaghetti and clam sauce and spaghetti and other sauce, and I loved it, and it made me happy. And then it's funny. It felt like it took after that bender like a few days to a week before the fat came on. It just came raging on a few days later. I don't know if it's delayed or if that's something. Sometimes when you exercise, it takes a few days afterwards, and then you start,
Exactly. No, I know what you mean, yeah.
But between that and not being able to exercise because it's freaking freezing here, it's cold in the entire United States right now.
I want to move.
But this is, you do?
We think about it.
Yeah. No, I do too. But, so anyway, it brings us to the topic today, which is this whole idea of, sorry, I have to swallow and just so
it's pasta.
So, this idea of pasta. And thinking back about just how we were told as kids about the 4 food groups.
Pyramid. Was it a pyramid?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we were told you can't have bacon because bacon's not good for you. It's going to give you a heart attack. The heart attack special is the breakfast you can't have. When you and I, when we used to make that mac and cheese in the 90s, I remember one time Dana stopping us doing something to the mac and cheese. You remember what she stopped us from doing?
From adding more packets of cheese.
Correct. Because the thought was that the cheese is terrible for you. It's awful. Now, in retrospect, whether unless it's some kind of lactose thing, the cheese wasn't the problem. The pasta pasta's the problem. And my brother used to be a big jock, even in high school, and he used to come home and just kill pasta and eat it in the morning because that's what it was. You'd carb up. You'd have pasta. That was what was good for you.
Provides energy and all that on the short term.
On the short, yeah,
on the short term. Yeah.
In retrospect, it's poison. Although so much of that stuff is just absolute. It's delicious poison.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it's just like you're totally brought up to believe that it's not, and just eat the low fat stuff. And
yeah. So are you saying that instead of making the Velveeta and cheese concoctions like we did before, we just take out the pasta and just put the rest of the stuff in there, which would be packages of cheese?
I think it would be better for us. Definitely,
hot dogs.
Yeah,
hot peppers.
Yeah, I mean with the hot dogs, and the only thing that people really have the problem with is just some of the byproducts of processing.
Right? Nitrates.
And that stuff. But really, the stuff that we were told to do, and we have a New York Times article that talks about this. We don't necessarily have to get into it.
No, I read it.
But but we were pushed into the sugar industry had a lot of influence and sway, and they used the scientific community to promote sugar, and of course. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, no, of course. I want you to be right. Mm-hmm. I do. I would love to eat, copious amounts of bacon and melted cheese.
But so, what is your thinking that it's not right? Because now the governing body, that has pushed forever against high cholesterol foods, has backed off of this.
Yeah, no, that's
and so
great
now
news.
It's all been ceded. They've all let this argument is over. Of course, all these businesses remain, and then still doctors you see. Still will tell you should cut down on fatty intakes and fatty foods and this and that. And my feeling and what I've heard from just by listening to a bunch of and reading up on a bunch of nutritionists is that doctors have no time. They have no time to tell you the latest stuff. They have 5 minutes per patient, and they have to get you through and get you through.
Well, they don't feel like. They don't want to. They've already. They know what they know, and that's it.
They know what they know, and that's it. And also culturally, we're told that you look down on certain foods.
Yeah.
You look down. A greasy hamburger that's so gluttonous. It's cultural to people. So like people say, you can't have that. It's disgusting. Or like a pork belly. That's
right.
Literally fat. You're eating. You disgust. There's something gluttonous about it, and you think about that, and people get mad at fat people.
Oh yeah.
Seriously, and I do too. Sue was it the other day. He told me the guy who played the lead on The Princess Bride, the great-looking blonde guy.
Yeah, I forget his name, but I know who you're talking about.
A woman I work with, Hillary, just told me today, she said, oh, my God. And she was angry. She said, he's fat now. And you get fat. You get angry at people for getting fat because it's
too bad.
No, I do too. And I think it's just like it's the one. You're still allowed to be mad at people for getting fat because people get fat through being sedentary and gluttonous. And so, and I think people associated that with greasy food and things. They say, "Look at this overindulgent, greasy, tasty food." Meanwhile, I'm here. I've got a tofu chicken salad, and that should be just fine. It's a more nobler food than your stupid big fat food.
What did you have for lunch today?
I had a sausage. I made some sausages with there's onions. It was really good actually. I also had some
without bread.
Without bread. I'm trying to. Well, last night I can't talk about it. It's just easy, but historically, with all the foods that I've loved ever, like really loved, it has been, they have been foods, including nachos with cheese, or mac and cheese, or spaghetti with this clam sauce.
What about the za?
Pizza?
Yeah.
I've always thought it was fine. I've never needed to have pizza.
Yeah,
I've always appreciated it. I'm only human. I like pizza. But the foods that I've had been obsessed with, where I'd see them in the menu and I go, excited, have always been carb-heavy foods. And I only thought about it recently. Wow, I had only obsessed 3 times, and it was all 3 times these are carb foods.
Yeah.
So, like, it's just such a trap. Did you ever do the Atkins diet when it came out?
I never did. I had many years where I was focused on running and nutrition, and I never picked up on any diet fad at all. I always did just balanced. I always had carbs. I always had everything. Just a balanced, portion controlled. That's all I did. Mm-hmm. Drank a lot of water, and that's it. I always thought that they were just all, just marketing tools to make money. And a new fad this year, I think, is paleo, possibly, or something like that. I know your brother is doing something, a combined diet situation, and he's lost a ton of weight and looks really good. and that's working well. I think that it can be done in a balanced approach. Like I said, even with carbs, it doesn't. You just have to just be balanced and portion. That's my thought. I was very successful for many years doing that.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt. And portion control is one of those things. Well, but I have found that with a low carb diet, that it's portion control is easier because your cravings aren't there.
Oh, interesting.
It's the cravings to like rock a piece of steak is different. Slurping linguine, or fettuccine Alfredo.
Yeah,
you want to destroy a bowl of that. It's beautiful. Generally with a steak or something like that, you're sated much quicker.
Right. Yeah.
And so I think I can help you train yourself to do it. And I think that's what part of what has helped my brother a little bit. It kind of slows you down. Because the carb stuff is overindulgence. But I remember when the Atkins thing came, his problem was that, well, it was great. Everybody I knew who was on it lost weight. I even knew a guy who lost a lot of weight just by switching to Mick Ultra.
Oh, yeah?
That's all he did. I mean, he probably was killing, 18 beers a night.
I was going to say, doesn't it matter how many you have?
Oh, yeah. No. He was killing a lot of beers a night, generally. But the switch to Mick Ultra was just that, that much sugar was it, because he was so spiked all the time, and then it's almost like, from what I've read, it's like, it's just like for your liver to process alcohol. It's very tough. It's a toxin.
It's backing it up.
This stuff is a toxin, so it can't. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you just cannot lose weight. I mean, if you're, and there's a period when if you're a runner, and you're just in great shape, and you're just burning,
or if you're young,
if you're young, but if you're running a lot, I mean, there was a time when I was when I'd walk 5 miles in the morning and then run 5 miles, and this in my early 30s, at night, and although that was exhausting, you could eat anything.
Yeah.
That was it. I mean, there was no way my body was going to beat that. And my food intake was going to beat that stuff. But other than that, I mean, just think right now, if we go to the grocery store, if people listening go to the grocery store right now, there's all sorts of aisles full of low-fat stuff.
Yeah, I know.
And unless you like the taste of it, why? It's all...
But loads of sugar, though, too.
Yeah, loads of... Yes. The entire freaking cereal aisle, Jay.
I know, yeah. They think Gatorade is a health drink when it's got like 34 grams of sugar, or yogurt is a healthy option when it has 34 grams of sugar. I know sugar is won out on this thing. They've like the New York Times article said that they started out in the 60s or whatever, setting this path where sugar was not the culprit, it was fat, and they've been very, very successful until recently. Well, Atkins, I don't know, he's probably not the first one to talk about it and to come up with a diet like that, but he was certainly the most successful so far.
Yeah, he was, but they destroyed him for it.
Well, he died too. Did he fall on a sidewalk?
He fell, but people conflate that. They suggested he died because of the diet.
Oh, I know.
He's an old guy who took a header. But I do remember him being interviewed back in the early 2000s and just being persecuted. It's not having any research and saying that he was going to essentially have people race to heart attacks by doing that stuff. And any research I've seen since is just the opposite. But they continue to push this lie on us.
Yeah.
Continue to say, you need to have high carb and low fat diet. It's just total BS.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell from a beer intake. I mean,
I know.
It's just you can feel there is, like, we overthink things sometimes. I think that a beer belly is scientific. I think it's a special kind of abdomen fat that generally men got, and these are men who drank too much beer.
Yeah, no, you can notice it from a mile away.
Yeah, you can. Some men are totally proportionally
you can play quarters off of it,
except for
exactly
this huge belly. Damn, I just think it's what a disservice that you've done all those years. Like we talked about. Imagine, I mean, we're guys, and guys have it easier,
Yeah.
Because guys, I mean, you can feel bad about your body, and you can feel like a fat jerk and this and that, but women are held to a different standard.
Indeed, which is sad also. But
yeah.
So it'd be interesting to, we're having. I don't know if we didn't talk about this, but we were supposed to do beer January. Do you want to bring that up at all? Do we? I know that you said you have some guidelines and some.
Well, there's
small fine print.
Well, yeah, there's an atmospheric event happening. So that may obviously this is not a suicide pact. I mean, provisions will have to be made for that event. So we'll have to see.
You're working tomorrow, though, right? So
I'm working.
I don't know how you're gonna get home. So schools are closed tomorrow in the greater Boston area, and they're supposed to get a blizzard conditions. And tomorrow is the 4th of January. Is that right? I know we're not supposed to date stamp these things.
All of the day.
All of the day. And this day, the next day, generally it's one of my triggers to have some frosty beverages is to be outside and to maybe consume a couple of frosty beverages. Is that also the case with you, or?
Yeah, but you can't be outside in a blizzard.
Well, it's going to be warmer than it has been in the past few days. It's actually going to be around 25 to 30 degrees, which is quite balmy compared to what we've been used to.
Yeah, it is, but it's also going to be, there's going to be 50-mile-per-hour winds in a blizzard.
Not seeing your point.
No, no, but
yeah.
I just want to get back, and we will do that tomorrow. We should probably Instagram it tomorrow. I just want to get back to just a little bit of this eating things and stuff that you're always lied about. Here you go. So this is like considered wholesome from our time being kids. Let's see if I can get this to actually work. Here you go. Listen to this. It's supposed to be Anthony Prince Spaghetti.
Prince Spaghetti. It's Wednesday, isn't it?
Anthony Martignetti lives in Boston.
Martignetti.
On Prince Street, in the Italian North End. The home for more than 50 years of the Prince Spaghetti Company. Anthony knows a lot about local Italian customs. And he knows a lot about Prince. Because that's a local custom, too. Prince is more than just authentic. It's something that grows you. With wheat germ energy other pastas leave out.
Wheat germ energy. That's what the thing is you need to know about Prince Spaghetti. The wheat germ energy.
I never heard that before. Is Wednesday Prince Spaghetti? Okay.
It's more great branding. Wednesday.
Exactly. I remember that.
Wednesday. We got to. Now, Anthony was not fat. But
are you sure?
People pushing. Yeah, I'm looking at him right now.
Oh, okay.
People pushing this Prince Spaghetti as something that you can have as a healthy alternative to the bad stuff like pork chops. That's deadly stuff. And forever. And you look at pasta. Pasta's dirt cheap. You can buy a plate of it. You can feed
99
families.
cents. Yeah.
Yeah, and the stuff is like killing people.
What's the when was this commercial? I would say early 80s.
No,
late 70s.
This is the 70s.
Yeah.
No, this is actually barely in color. I don't even know if they can call that color. But the pasta looks good.
But not today. Today is Wednesday. And as every family in the North End of Boston will tell you, Wednesday is Prince Spaghetti Day.
I remember that.
Anthony.
There was a sign in Lowell over a bridge actually that had Wednesday is Prince Spaghetti Day. You can still see it faintly on the bridge painted on there.
And Prince Spaghetti is great. It's a great company. It tastes wonderful.
Local,
it's not their fault. And I don't blame these companies for these big pasta companies and other really sugar food companies for promoting themselves. It's not their fault.
Yeah, right.
If we're too
fat
up to
them.
And stupid and slothful to not be able to survive, then we have it coming.
Well, people educate themselves by what they were told by the government and by all these associations. So we always thought that having spaghetti is a very healthy option. So
these foods, big sugar industry commissioned scientists to find out pro-sugar information. Now, I'm sure the scientists got all sorts of information for them. At that point, it belongs to the sugar industry.
Yeah.
So, like the same way, like with I run a digital radio station, we have all sorts of metrics that are given to us by our person. The ones I turn around and try to sell on are just a tiny sliver of those metrics. A lot of those metrics are not good metrics.
It's like the unemployment rate.
Exactly. Yeah. So we can talk page views and unique visits all day, and as long as we can slice it up. I mean, that's just that's the free market.
Yeah.
It allows you to be.
You redact what you need to on the way up.
Yeah. And it allows you to be free. I mean, to do your own thing. But I do think if you think about it, all the things were there to make this country fat. First, driving everybody into this stuff. Second, you scare the heck out of parents into thinking that every other kid's going to be kidnapped, which is not the
I do remember
situation.
That. Yeah.
And so your kid, you go to school, you come home, you discover something beautiful called the Dorito, which is the best thing in the world. And you sit and watch TV and watch Star Blazers or whatever else was on the what's the thing with Colt Seaver, the unknown stuntman one.
Is that $6 Million?
The same actor. Anyway,
yeah.
You watch all the reruns of that in the Jeffersons and that, and pretty soon it's nighttime and it's time to eat again.
Yeah.
And then you get fat.
Well, what about do you remember the sugar dipsticks? The dipsticks?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I used to finish off after the Doritos.
Yeah.
With.
Yeah, those dipsticks, I remember at the time my mother being concerned about at the time.
Recommended by the American Dental Association too, I think.
Well, the sugar did take a hit from the big dentists. There's no doubt.
Oh yeah, that's right. 4 out of 5 dentists, you mean?
Yeah, but those dipsticks were not. Those weren't even trying to hide the fact that that was sugar.
Yeah,
that was just colored crystals of sugar.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
But it's terrible. I mean, I think it's important because I just feel terrible for people who have never gotten to be thin.
Yeah.
Ever. You know. Ever. I mean, I've always been a healthy amount of fat, and you really have been thin, really. Well, you're not really a fat guy.
Well,
in the circles you run in, you're not anyway. But there's people out there who've never been. It's a different thing.
Yeah.
To be walking down the street and have a beautiful girl look at you and smile, and because she's pleased at your appearance, it's something that or vice versa. It's something that people should be able to feel.
Yeah, you had mentioned that in a previous podcast about being fat all the time as opposed to being thin and thinking that you'll be thin again is a different thing, different outlook.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so this getting lean in 2018 or getting lean in 18 or is it staying lean in 18? What is it?
Getting lean in 18.
Yeah. So
get lean in 18.
Yeah. But
we'll get it right for you guys.
It's just so interesting, and I'm not the only one. So I'm about to be 40 and 5. And I found a way to gain 6 pounds. How do you do that? All you have to do is not eat like a pig.
Well, no. Let's talk realistically. What about the frosty beverages that you've consumed over the course of the last few weeks since Gray was on?
So Stokey?
Yeah, Stokey from Stokey. Thank you, Gray, by the way, for filling in while I was away.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He was. I listened to the podcast. Very
He's still grounded, by the way.
I know
he is. That was a 1 day furlough.
Yeah.
1 day furlough. He is not allowed to show up unsupervised. I can tell you that.
I know. Poor fellow.
Well, Stokey will swear to you by the eating carbs and drinking beer thing too, because he's throwing on a few pounds.
Yeah.
So no, I think the drinking at all is has a lot to do with it. Especially it's what you're drinking and whatever. There's no mystery here,
I know, but for us anyway.
Yeah, there's no mystery for us. Yeah, there's no gland issue or there's nothing that we don't have to look any farther than
beer and carbs.
Yeah,
and
beer,
pasta.
Yeah, exactly. But it still is it's a pain. My regret right now is that we can't exercise, and I hate the gym. I hate it.
I know. I don't.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It's just.
I agree.
Well, then that's why you got to live somewhere where you can go outside.
I absolutely agree with you. I was in Chicago. I know it's cold there too, but the lake was right next to us, and I was able to just roll out of bed and run up and down a lake or bike or do whatever, and that was just amazing. It was very conducive to having a healthy living. Here, I mean, I guess we have the Fells, which is right by us, and that would be interesting to
I want to do that when it gets a little bit warmer here. But I mean, there is times I walked to work 2 days ago. Walked from a train station a couple miles, and I had the wind just blowing on my legs the whole time.
Brutal.
And it was like, it was getting in there.
Yeah.
So tell me something. If you could make a 2 foods that are currently high in sugar or carbs, and make them so they weren't. So 2 freebies.
Risotto.
Bring over to the good side. Risotto.
Yeah, do you like risotto?
A solid choice.
Of course. Thank you very much.
It weighs about 60 pounds per
square inch.
Yeah.
I love it. And I have to say, I love New England pizza. You and I talked about this a lot, and I talked with a lot of people about it. I've been all over the country, lived in many places, and I tell you, New York style, New England style, Greek style, all the pizzas around here are the best in the country. I love it so much. Even far outdoes Chicago pizza. Sorry, guys, but it's true. I've had.
Oh, people in Chicago know that sucks.
I know. They have to. They have to. So pizza would be the other one. I would like to have pizza as one of the things where you could clear out all the bad stuff and I can have it on a daily basis. You're texting a lot there. What's going on?
I'm looking at I'm just getting an alert that one of the trains is going to be not running tomorrow.
Well, that's surprising for the MBTA, you know?
I know. I do like the idea of getting some exercise by shoveling.
I'm afraid I'm just going to have a coronary eventually. You know how they have that
I know.
Everyone hears about that person? Well, it probably wasn't because of shoveling. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and I also get, since I'm a large person, I still get, anytime I am jogging in the morning, I get looking good, buddy.
Oh, I know.
It's the worst thing.
I was
call
with
me
you
fat
once.
ass. Don't tell me I'm looking good. Be mean. Don't be nice.
I was with you once when someone high-fived you or something along the Memorial Drive. But I meant to ask you, is the track still open down the street there at Pine Banks?
It's covered with
so you don't. People still do that, or
it's just there's snow all over.
All right, okay.
So you can't.
It's impossible.
It's very tough.
Like you, I cannot go into a gym in a basement usually somewhere, and I just can't do it.
Pick another food.
I said pizza and risotto. Yeah.
Pick another one.
I have to say beer.
No.
An actual food item.
Yeah.
I'll have to think about it. What about yourself? I know. Linguine and clam sauce.
Yeah, but I mean, I have to say it would be linguine and clam sauce. It makes me so happy. The thing is, though, is that immediately I eat way too much of it, and I'm in pain. Then I wake up and have like a ectoplasmic eruption of a pure magma out of my stomach. It's exactly what you think it should be. Of course, it's terrible. It's disgusting. I should be. If my wife strangled me to death, I would just respect her. I think a lot of people would.
I might be one of them. But moving on. No, it is interesting.
And I'm going to use, by the way, your armbands there. I
saw that.
I love those. I've done those before in classes. It's much better than going to a gym.
Oh yeah,
you can do everything you can do in a gym with those bands.
Well, who's a big fan of that is TB12.
Tom Brady?
Yeah, he has that thing called pliability or whatever he calls it.
Really?
And he uses a lot of bands for his.
Is this the stuff coming from the walls and stuff?
Yeah, well, it's the same thing. You just have to find a place.
Oh no, I know, but you can do them without.
TRX system and all that stuff.
Yeah. I don't want anything with a swivel, anything like that happen. I can just walk into stuff. I can just.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. For me, it seems like I need to get out of the house to do some exercise. Even if I have all the equipment, it seems to me that for me to be successful, it has to be outside. I have to leave. And just get myself away from the distractions and things like that. So that's where I'm more successful, I find.
That's the problem, man. Yeah. How do you do that around here?
I don't know.
Unless you're going to go rent a tennis time where there's somebody over to your right and somebody to your left. It sucks.
I think for me, when the weather breaks a little bit here, it's going to be trail running a little bit, or trail hiking, or something in the fells.
That's outside.
I know.
When the weather breaks.
When the weather breaks, which could be 10 weeks, 12 weeks.
Yeah, no, I think that would be great as well.
I want to hike every inch of the Fells Trail Reservation. I think I want to know it well. That way, if I need to take off, I can hide myself inside the Fells somewhere, and no one will find me for a long period of time.
Maybe find a bear cave. Are there any? So. This is something we've been told. The sugar thing is something we've been told that was just a fact of life forever, and now it's completely fallen apart. Even though people are still doing it, and there's still low-fat stuff all over the stores for some reason. Like they might as well have a saccharin aisle too. Seriously, there's no reason for it anymore.
Yeah.
But what else? What else do you think that has been sanctioned by culture? And this is a culture thing. And or maybe the government.
Oh, all right, here you go.
You think is BS. And that could be in any category.
I have one,
sure.
Which is, I was in Chicago, Cafe 28, one of the greatest restaurants at the time. And I ordered the pork chop bone-in, and they asked me, how would you like that done? And I was like, are you kidding me? I said, well, what do you suggest? A medium rare, I guess. Okay, we'll have it. And it was the greatest piece of meat I ever had. So that's one of the things they say, that pork has to be well done all the time. It's incorrect. It does not have to be well done. It's just on the outside that needs to make sure you have to have seared and kill all the whatever it's on there. But it was the greatest piece of meat I've had. And so anyway, that is one of them. What about you?
I think that's a great one. I think that's totally. Totally. I mean, I don't want to get us in trouble, but a lot of things as well, like raw eggs. Generally in North America, you can eat a lot of the stuff up here that you can't eat elsewhere. Yeah. Up here. So I think that people have to just calm down on that. I'm not I think that a fallacy is organic.
Oh, yeah.
A fallacy a lot of times. I mean, it feels anything that feels right is probably not right because it just feels,
anything is more expensive is probably
absolutely. You can slap on organic on there; it's expensive, and all that it means is you can't use some
pesticides. Yeah.
But the natural pesticides that some of them use are considered very damaging.
Or maybe they haven't even done enough tests or lengthy enough tests for them.
Exactly.
Yet. Yeah,
It is such a.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to say, if anything, the organic may apply to the strawberries and stuff like that gets sprayed on directly. I would say that maybe that might be an advantage.
The spirit of it is right.
Yeah, correct.
But that said, it's like the whole thing with the LR scare in the '80s, and they tried to tell us that there's something that's going to be damaging, or whatever. It's just total BS. Here's another thing I think.
I assume you buy cage-free eggs as well.
I have never done any of that crap. I mean, I've never done any of that. But
sorry.
No, it's okay. What's the other thing that they're going to say?
Well, we talked about organic, yeah.
Oh yeah, here's another thing I think is that, and this is just a cultural thing where people say, that if we started to let kids drink here at a younger age, it wouldn't be then it wouldn't be so something that they'd be so interested in. Just like in France, they can all drink in 15-something. I think that is BS. I think an American young person is a unique kind of young person who is generally, although I think it is ebbed a little bit, where this generation of millennials, like probably the average 17-year-old, when they go over their parents' or their friend's parents' house, doesn't immediately seek out the liquor cabinet. I think that Americans, American kids, you can't give them wine earlier now. We're not culturally ready for that. Look at us. Seriously, we do everything in excess, including stupid stuff.
My dad, I think, had a different viewpoint on that. I think we started having a couple of beer, or one beer, or two beers max around him when we were 15, 16 years old. Did your parents ever do that?
My mother was not.
Oh, okay.
Was kind of swore off, but
didn't work out though.
For anybody.
For this example,
so are you going to use you and Phil Barr and Loic as prime examples?
Not good examples.
Yeah, the luster of beer just wore right off after you guys got out of your.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
No,
I know being texted by the thing. Let me think. Oh, here's another thing that was kind of debunked was the idea that you couldn't use devices on an airplane.
Oh yeah,
your devices. There was no real reason for that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Like it's gonna mess up the navigation.
Yeah, and it felt bad. You can't use devices. We'll have on Lenore Skenazy as well.
Repeat that again.
We'll have on a woman named Lenore Skenazy.
Oh, okay.
She got in trouble because she let her 7-year-old take the subway in New York City
by himself.
And of course, their society rained down upon her, etc. But she felt that he was ready.
That's right. The people are ready at different times. I feel I feel strongly about that.
And
for
so
different
now
things.
She makes her living out of finding these different stories around the country where a 7-year-old and 8-year-old are walking down the street, and now people will call the police about that.
Jesus.
And then sometimes the parents have been arrested because people. I am shocked at I see, and including people who live close to me, who have kids that are like 10 years old, and the kid gets rides somewhere.
Yeah.
What's a ride?
I know.
Within this city, if it's within a mile, there's no ride happening. How am I going to get to school? That's not a question.
Yeah, we used to walk back and forth to school.
How the frig are you supposed to learn anything if you're not learning simple navigation?
Yeah. And everyday life situations, whatever, even whatever happens between that mile to work or less than that,
totally.
All that stuff. Yeah, no, we walked. You did too, right? Back and forth to school
all the time, time to back and forth to school, and just all over the place.
Yeah,
and we wanted to. We couldn't wait. Once you got a bike, that meant you were mobile and you could go ride around. And the older
without a helmet,
you would have been drawn and quartered had you had a helmet
today. Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah,
a helmet. Kids would have taken your life in 1984 if you had a helmet.
And your high tops.
Yeah. There's no doubt, but there are things like that just all over the place. I mean, I guess one thing that I do think that they were probably right on, although, was too much TV, because too much TV now is the same as
devices,
is nothing. You're not doing any work as a 10-year-old just mouth breathing, watching the presentation in front of you where all the work is done.
I agree with you with that.
And now it's the same thing with the internet and
devices,
devices exactly. My kids watch way too much TV.
Yeah, same.
And it's simply because you have to give them because we're bad parents or whatever it is. I don't care, but I mean
can we not send our kids outside anymore? Well, I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, your kids are a little bit younger, but I know Sally's not. I mean, when were we outside all night until the lights went on? I mean, I think I must have been 7, 8 years old. I guess I was with my brothers too, but my sister. But
yeah.
And then you send them outside, and that's it.
Yes, and then I've seen where you grew up, and that's a perfect street for like stickball or ball or football or whatever. In one of those things, and I lived in a dead end growing up as a kid too, and it's magic. And then the lights come on, and then of course you try to hit the light with a ball, and then you just try to like keep pushing it into how late you can play outside.
Did your dead end have a super fun site at the end of it?
Not that one. My current house has a super fun site.
That's good.
No, was yours the super fun site?
It was.
Was that? Yeah, I could see it. Probably looks like that. I know what area you're talking about there. Yeah, there were a lot of those.
Yeah, so that's the thing is like, it's to the point where we have to have helmets. Mm-hmm. We have to walk our kids to school or drive them to school. We don't feel comfortable sending them outside. Isn't that where we're at?
Yeah,
that's too bad. Why are we that way?
I don't know.
We're in one of the safest communities around Boston too.
Yeah, but when my brother and I we've got a place in Vermont. Growing up in Vermont, we would walk as 11-year-olds with our fishing gear, bait the hook, catch fish, break the fish's neck if it was big enough, throw them in the basket while like in the sun, and then bring them back and cook the fish.
And you walk from Caspian Lake back to your house?
No.
Oh,
different.
But it seems to me that would be a scarier place to walk alone than it would in like a place that has, that's a bedroom community that loads of people around.
Yeah, but I mean, Lenore Skenazy's whole thing is that she just did the research, and her whole theme is that like nobody wants your kid. Yeah. So just generally don't worry about it. Nobody wants your kid. And I've had in stores way too many times. People complained that I was too far away from the stroller where my daughter was in.
Oh yeah, that's bullshit.
Saying, is that your daughter over there? Whose is this? And a woman
Mind
go over
your
near her,
own business.
go near her and say, "It's okay, honey, it's okay," even though she's just fine in there. Yeah, and I had another woman do it at a nice mall. This is just like a year and a half ago, or whatever, and said because my kids were afraid to take the escalator. So I had to bring one down, and then the other one I said, "You wait up there, wait here, and I'll come back and get you," because they were afraid to do it without me. So I brought one down to the bottom, and a woman immediately said, "You're not leaving him down there. I hope you're not leaving him down there." The bottom of the escalator. He's just standing there. He's a 3-year-old, just looking around. He's fine. Well, I go up to get the other one, and then she stood with him, saying, "Oh, here, it's okay. I have him. I'll take care of him." And had I thought about it, I would have said, "Get your hand off my kid. I'm calling the cops."
Oh, perfect.
Because she wanted to be no. And I said, "Why are you doing that?" And she said, "Because somebody could take him." And I said, "Nobody statistically ever does that. Does that. People don't go to the mall where there's witnesses and cameras and go to the mall and say, like, intending to shop, but then see a kid and then say, you know what, I'm just going to drastically change my life by rolling the dice here. I'm going to grab that kid, run, get into the car. Honey, it's me. It's Tom. You need to get whatever valuables we have ready because we're going to be on the lam here because I just stole a kid. Like, instead, I know I was just supposed to go and buy a crock pot, but that didn't happen because I saw this. Like, it doesn't happen.
Well, I mean, it happens.
It happens, but it's almost impossible that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
People don't want,
Well, besides that, who the heck is this person? Mind your own business. I would love to be able to inflict some pain in that person somehow. If if it was legal to do so, oh man, I can't stand people who don't mind their own business.
That should be the name of this episode. It should be Mind Your Own Business. As a matter of fact, now because I'm more passionate about that than I am it
applies to everything we talked about today. The government, the sugar industry.
How about this? Mind your own business and have some self-respect. Like we talk about kids and not being able to do anything, but why are 14-year-old kids hitting the walk button on a busy main street and then stopping and then waiting, regardless if there are cars coming.
I know.
There are no cars coming anymore.
I know you're very passionate about this subject.
I am. It absolutely pisses me off. Have some self-respect.
Just run across the street.
I don't even think there were buttons when I was a kid. Who would have hit anything? Get across the street is how you get across the street.
Just stopping everything.
Yes.
And now all four.
Now they'll stop, and sometimes they'll just walk once it's stopped. To walk, so then walk defiantly diagonally. What is that?
I know.
Jesus,
I can't stand that either, especially when they're on their phones, when they're taking the time. It's just it's part of
have some
society.
Have respect for people around. I would never hit it, and I'm going to tell my kids to try not to hit it unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah,
there are streets in Manhattan where it's not a question.
Well, right, exactly. It's becoming where the pedestrians are ruling the streets now, and they have the bike lanes, and which in some cases is great, but when you completely stop progression on all four streets or intersections, and just so that someone can walk for a second when they could, I know it's annoying. It's very annoying.
That's right around the theme of I should have did more reading is to better yourself. I think part of bettering yourself is, and we have our differences here because I obviously have a vehicular issue with the law.
Oh yeah, you do. You're a very angry driver.
I'm angry, but that's not my fault. And you've been there. You're angry too, my friend.
Yeah, but
I'm impatient. I just want to go, and I just wish that everybody's priority on the road was what mine was. Is to just go. Just go. Your job is to get your car and go. So, and there's no wonder if you should stop. If you're wondering if you should stop, you should go.
I know.
Just move and have self-respect. If it's 4:18 in the morning and you're at a red light and I'm behind you, well, why would anybody be? You stopped at a red light because who's deciding that?
Well, maybe they can't afford $50, $100.
There's nobody's going to catch you. We don't have red light cameras here.
Shift change anyway. It's funny you say that because I feel that New England drivers are the best drivers in the world and the worst drivers at the same time.
Correct.
They're very aggressive, but then again, they'll stop in the middle of the road for no reason to let a car from the side street go when they don't have the right of way. They have a stop sign, etc.
Right.
And
your job is to not get into heaven by being a good person for this person wanting to get in, because although you're letting him go, you're stopping us behind you.
Exactly.
We're all doing the right thing.
Yeah, no, everyone's concerned about where they're going and how they get in there, and they're just concerned about themselves, and that's it. It bothers me about our community is that not just this community, but just people in general are not really friends with their neighbors anymore. Neighbors meaning next door neighbors, car neighbors. When you're driving, wherever you go, people are not as friendly as they used to be back in the day. And at one point, they'll give you the finger and drive off, but then a minute later, they'll pull over and help you with a flat tire. They wouldn't even realize that was the same person. You know what I mean? It's very interesting what's going on.
Totally. And you're right. Neighborhoods need to be neighborhoods. Getting real neighborhoods. People should know each other. I mean, I remember growing up, like 6 years old, and my friend next door threw a rock at another kid who was also our neighbor, and the rock hit him in the head.
Oh.
And it wasn't a huge rock, but it upset him, and he obviously maybe had a little gash there or whatever. And he went in to his house, and that kid's dad went bursting out of his house and running after the kid who threw the rock.
Oh, man.
And they were circling the house, and I was just watching this saying, oh, my God. Circling the house, and then the other kids finally came out and they were barking at each other, and they were like coming in. It was like all sorts of street justice almost happening.
Wow.
And then everybody calmed down, and those two stayed enemies for like 2 months, and then everything came. But I mean, can you imagine the amount of social services visits and SWAT teams, etc., that would have descended if that happened now? That was just a day back then.
Wow.
That was just like how to keep. We were all close. I still hang out with all those guys.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, you could not, if a kid saw that now, if he wasn't totally traumatized by it, by the time he told a few adults, they'd make sure he was.
Oh, of course.
Oh, no, that really hurts you. In retrospect, no, you have PTSD now. So
yeah.
That with you.
Yeah, there'll be litigation and all that stuff. I mean, here's an opportunity. It's not. Exactly. No, it's too bad how the things have evolved this way. I think a lot has to do with, we talked about how too much TV. I mean, a lot of it is also, the problem is we're not speaking to each other anymore. We're always on our tablets, on our phones, whatever it is. And, you see that everywhere. I see people on public transportation, and everyone's either on their phone or on their phone. So it's just, it's too bad because, I guess it's the same thing as looking at a newspaper, but when you do it all the time and you don't interact with your your fellow neighbor. I don't know. Things are changing for sure.
Well, and also you're on your phone and you're a tough guy online.
Yeah.
You're allowed to be mean to people and rude to people. And some of these people take it personally.
Yeah.
They really care. You're doing on Twitter and things like that. People, of course, are doing their best to formulate with the amount of characters they're given the most hurtful thing they can possibly think to give you pain.
It's funny you sent me that link to Louis C.K. I know he's supposedly allegedly a pervert, but he had a funny skit.
It's not alleged anymore.
Oh,
he admits it.
He was on. I forget what show he was on, but he was talking about cell phones. Yeah, that's right, Conan O'Brien. Yeah, so that was very interesting. We should put that link up on. I should have did more reading, but he had a very great input about how kids are using. They're not having feelings anymore. They're just throwing insults to people online and nothing. And they don't allow themselves to feel sad or lonely or anything like that. They just go online. Yeah, so it's a very interesting piece if you have the chance.
Yeah, it's important, I think, for kids to know. I mean, have you confronted somebody in true life? It's a tough thing doing that.
Face to face, you mean?
Yeah, it's a tough thing confronting somebody.
Because true life means online for most people now.
Right. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right.
So, but yeah, face to face, yeah.
It's
funny you say that because I've always been one to do that. I've done it with friends. I've done it with coworkers and bosses and things like that. It's very uncomfortable for most people to be part of that conversation, whether to receive it or anything like that.
And it's probably a good thing that it is. It shouldn't be easy to speak so bluntly to somebody.
Yeah, right.
It should be easier to ingratiate yourself with nice etiquette in a nice manner.
Yeah.
People respond to that. It
Agreed.
feels good to have somebody smile to you and that kind of approach. And those human things. I have no social skills really anyway, so but I respect that they exist and that other people can have them. But people need to just we've been complaining so much.
I know, it's unbelievable.
Why are we complaining? Why don't we talk about some of the good stuff? Last couple of minutes here.
Yeah.
We started out talking about the whole. We figured it all out. We figured out all the lying stuff about our pasta and all that stuff. All that stuff that we thought was good for you is not good for you. All the stuff that we thought was bad for you is not good for you.
I should have ate more fat.
Yeah, should have did more eating of fat.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, there are some things that, what does suck about that is that beef is expensive.
Good beef.
Yeah.
Yeah. You remember we used to buy skirt steak for practically nothing?
Yeah.
It's a great piece of meat as well, but now it's very, very expensive.
Yeah, and a lot of that was at one point wheat prices. Wheat prices were through the roof.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cold cuts, expensive, everything.
Yeah.
Food is very expensive.
Yeah, it's the cost of living. That's why we need a tax cut. I mean, let's see if something like that happens.
Why does this microphone smell? Who was the last one to use this?
That was you.
No, it's Skokie.
Oh, is it?
Skokie.
Stokey from a Skokie. Oh, there's one of the reasons I gained all that weight is all the sugar cookies he brought over and the peanut butter cookies he brought.
I know. Why do you think? Well, this is a contest after all, isn't it?
Yeah, he brought over 300 peanut butter cookies, and I couldn't have Anson, my youngest son, touch them because he's allergic to peanut butter, so I had to eat all 300.
Sorry about that.
To save his life.
That was design play. But we do need to have some sort of end game on this to get lean in 18. So maybe we'll discuss that next week.
Well, I've got somebody else, a major media member in this market now, who has challenged me on social media too.
Oh, excellent.
So for me, that's more of an incentive to do. It's got to be. All I have to do is act like a normal person for a few days. Not even like even like a moderately overweight person.
Yeah.
And just do what they do.
Yeah, cut back a little bit on some of the. Yeah, no, I understand. Yes. And I will do that. I am looking forward to this challenge. We'll get more into. I do want to get more into how specifics about this challenge between you and I, especially. Then maybe we can bring on some other people. Hopefully.
Yeah, Muskokes has got to try to lose some weight again.
Good.
He's grounded.
Yeah, it should be easy for him.
Well, he's done it a couple of times.
And then back to beer Banuary. Is that a thing or what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, who knows if one of these provisions is triggered by the atmospheric event that is happening pretty soon.
I know.
We'll have to see. I was what's that called? I was solicited.
By whom?
No, I was propositioned.
By whom?
By somebody you're intimately familiar with.
Well, that would only be one person.
Correct.
So Dana,
your wife propositioned me this evening to have a beer.
Tomorrow?
No, today.
Tonight, right now.
I assume that means tomorrow as well. I assume the provision in the contract does go for does work in pairs just to make the accounting easier.
That makes no sense, but it sounds like we're okay to have some beer then on the third day of the month into beer January.
Well, I mean,
what is the definition of beer January? Have you seen
what this thing's called? This thing's called like the Monstroso Genesis or something.
I know. It's pretty awesome.
This is a huge storm.
I have a few triggers. What are your triggers?
Well, I mean, it's hard to some of the so these triggers, some of them I think become triggers because there's a pattern in your life where some wonderful things happen. So, for instance, when it comes to enjoying a couple of frosty beers with friends in a snowstorm,
I know
there's nothing better.
Big trigger.
There is a big trigger, and I think you when you're a younger person, there's a certain camaraderie that happens if you're in a bar and you're all snowed in.
Exactly.
And something special happens, and I think that the residual from that just sticks with you.
I know. Here's some more. A beautiful, sunny, hot day.
Yeah.
A weekend. A Thursday night. A Friday night.
Well, Thursday
a Saturday
night is a bridge night. I mean, that's.
I mean, there's so many triggers, and a lot of good memories that become triggers. I guess, like you said,
right.
I mean, it's just.
So that's the challenge: is that most days are trigger days.
Indeed. When is weather out? Yeah,
the non-trigger days. It doesn't take much to work up, a reason for
Indeed.
they being a trigger. I mean, like for instance, for me, I have a birthday in 5 days.
Oh, that's right. We talked about that.
I know. Do you start something new with just 5 days here? Did you do that?
Oh, we can celebrate Elvis's birthday at the same time.
Right.
I don't know.
And how would he celebrate it? Just diet-wise.
I think Vicodin and taking a poop.
Well, I think that he might enjoy the sugar-filled banana butter.
Peanut butter.
Yeah, and by the way, it sounds awesome.
It is. Fried banana.
You've had it?
I've had it. I made it myself, but I also had it at Graceland, yeah. I think they went through the plane, and then next to the plane is a little cafe that sells them.
The plane?
Yeah, his plane was on property.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Was it on property? This was a long time ago. I think it was on property behind the house. I'm not sure now. I think so.
Oh, my goodness. That's so interesting.
Yeah. The Lisa Marie, I think the plane's called. I'm not
sure. Do you use cottage cheese for anything?
I like cottage cheese by itself. With pineapples, paprika. It's good.
Pineapples?
Oh, you asked.
Jesus. Ugh, I don't get that. That freaking pineapples.
Well, what about you?
I use it with a lot of cracked pepper.
I don't think I tried that. I'll have to try that.
It's delicious. If you think milk's good for you, people have only been drinking milk for like 84 years.
I don't like
or
milk by itself. I think it's vile.
I think it's probably bad for you too.
Yeah.
I don't think adults necessarily.
Just thinking about it.
Yeah, adults necessarily should be doing anything.
My brother drinks a cold glass of whole milk when he goes out to a restaurant. I find that extremely odd. I love you, brother, but I do find that interesting. I know. Yeah. But
it's a sign of, certainly a weird sign of weakness.
Is it?
And possibly.
How is that?
That a grown man is going out and ordering a big glass of milk?
Cold milk. He likes it cold.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know. How is it a sign of weakness? I think it's a sign of strength because he doesn't care what other people think.
I guess so, but when it's only you and like 6-year-olds drinking, do they have even adult-sized glasses?
I think they give him the little carton that comes with his school.
Does he make the sound at the end of it? The safety pup is still on those?
Good stuff. I don't think so.
All right.
Well, good conversation, Thomas. It's good to be back. Thank you, Stokey. Skokie.
Stokey from Muskogee, who is not with us right now, who has been grounded, and JVB, who's not grounded. As a matter of fact, now JVB's wife, the grounder, may be grounded.
Oh, wow, interesting.
There's some scuttlebutt.
I heard something about New Year's Day.
Twitter, should have did more. On Instagram, I should have did more reading. Facebook.com, I should have did more reading. The website is I should have did more reading.com. You can find us on, is it Stitcher? What are we on? We're on iTunes and Google Play. We are on Stitcher, and TuneIn and Stitcher and all those other things. We'll have another video out soon. We're going to do our first, in the next month, we're going to do our first interview as well with somebody using Skype, using Gype. So I'll have to just, we maybe need another piece of equipment to do that. And then we're going to have some in-studio interviews. We're going to try to bring Stokey back here, maybe this weekend. If you can get, are you allowed to do it this weekend? Or?
What does that mean? Am I allowed to do
No,
it
nothing. It's just that everybody who's surrounded me is under lock and key from their spouses.
Yeah, thankfully I'm not letting that up in that category.
Okay, so you're allowed. So maybe we'll get Stokey from Muskogee. We can get him for a load, and then we need to talk to JVB, and I don't think the Bard will join us.
Yeah, and then we were talking about sort of reorganizing the studio and maybe putting it on camera sometime soon as well.
Definitely got to do that, and some more social media stuff. You got to fix stuff for social media. That's part of the you don't. It's not. I'll take care of the. You just do the thing.
Sounds good.
And I'll do the recording, and we'll get all that stuff done. So once again, on Twitter, Shoulda Did More Reading, but mostly follow us on, subscribe to us on iTunes. That's huge, and what's that thing called? YouTube. That's what we need. All right, we're gonna jump into this blizzard. We will be using social media on this blizzard tomorrow on Instagram and other things. I may be stuck in the city, kids. So we may have to do something remote.
You have to sleep over tomorrow night, probably.